All right, so let's dive right in here. So in our previous lecture, to quickly summarize what we learned is we understood different storage families that exist. We also understood there are various channels that we can use to bring storage. And from our previous example, we only touched identity and access management, and then we did a portion of S3 storage. So in today's series, we will be continuing from where we have left off, right? And that is S3. So a couple of additional examples that I would like to demonstrate here. Now, if you could see, there are two buckets that are available, right? One bucket is created in Virginia region. The other one is created in Mumbai. So let me create a couple of other buckets also and show you some of the storage families that are available, right? For example, something like this, right? And I want to create this. Unfortunately, there's no data center in Dubai. Um, let's say I want to create this in Paris. Select Paris here, and then I'll click next. Now there are a couple of options that are available here. Keep all versions of the object in the same bucket. Now what it does is you're enabling the version. So since assume that you have an original file where you have written A, B, and C, and then over a period of time you do iteration changes to that file. You add D, E, and F. So what S3 can do is it can intelligently see and do version control on your documents, right? So that if you enable this, it'll keep track of all the changes that you're doing in your documentation, right? And if in case if you want to log server access, you can always click on this and then you can select a bucket and then you can give a prefix what logs, right? So we're not doing logs now. I'll show you this in a separate example. Um, Default encryption, if you tick this, so what will happen is it'll ask you an option that every time I put the data into S3, do you want this to be encrypted? And it'll apply the default encryption, right? So if you don't want, you can uncheck it and your rest will not be encrypted. Next. Now by default, this is recommended where it is blocking the access to the bucket, right? If you want to expose this bucket to the internet, all you have to do is uncheck these options. By unchecking this option, this will expose your bucket to the internet. But if you leave this check, your bucket will be in the private form. Next, a quick overview on what exactly you're doing, and this will create a bucket. Let me go previous here. There's one more thing that I wanted to show you. Previous. Okay. If you see here, I have this bucket created right now, and this is created in the Paris. And by default, it says it does not have a public access, right? I can always go back and edit properties here, right? I can go back and I can change the permissions that I want permissions. This will take me to a permission tab. I can always edit this and uncheck this option later, right? Even after creating a bucket. Save and confirm. That's it. If you go back, see, object is publicly accessible, right? So this is how you can expose this to public so that you can publish the content like we published our website, we published our video, right? So let me show you a couple of more examples here. I'll add a file. So what do I have in my desktop? Okay, so some photo that I have here, I'm going to select this photo, right? And then I'll click on next. Next again. Now these are the storage options that are available in AWS, storage classes in S3, right? Let's break each storage down so that you can understand what exactly the storage does. And of course, there is a cost benefit that we have. If you choose a different storage option, there are different cost advantages that you will get. but inherent redundancies will be lost, right? The cheaper you go, you will not have redundant capabilities. The higher you go, you pay for the redundancy, right? So if you see here, a standard option, right? A standard option basically means you will have two copies of your data, because in Mumbai or in Paris or wherever that you do, minimum two copies of this data is maintained, right? Uh, so they will use two availability zones to maintain this copy of data. In some use cases, they will use three copy of the data on two availability zones, six copy of data on two availability zones, right? So there's an internal mechanism that time to time they keep upgrading and changing it. You just need to understand that your data is in a redundant format on both the availability zone, irrespective of several other copies that they maintain inside there. This is from an hardware perspective. A hard drive itself fails, right? In both the availability zone, if both the availability zone hard drive fails, you might lose your data. So there are several iterations of these copies that they will maintain within the data center. But for you to understand, when you say standard, they will take advantage of both the availability zones and ensure that redundant data is captured and maintained. That is standard, right? Now when you say intelligent tiering here, so what does intelligent tiering means is long lived data with changes are unknown access patterns. So that means the system will intelligently decide, okay, are you frequently accessing it, right? If you're not accessing it frequently, the system will move into the commodity storage. There are different storage classes that are available: ssds, SAS, SATA, right? And different storages give you different performance. So in order to give you a cost benefit, when you choose intelligence test tiering, right, initially it will be in the fastest drive, maintains two copy, or a period of time if you stop touching the data, right? If you infrequently access that, slowly the data will be fade away from faster drive. This will be moved into commodity drive. This will help you out to reduce cost. Though your data is protected and safe, it is just that when you re-access it after a very long time, the access becomes extremely slow, right? So that is intelligent tiering. A third option is standard IA, right? So standard IA is infrequent access. You can say, hey, I know I'm not going to access this data. So you can simply say standard infrequent. So it will still maintain the copy on two availability zones, but it will be on the slower drive, right? And then this intelligent tiering was something this was launched yesterday. Yesterday or day before yesterday, the videos that I have shared with you, right? The videos that I have shared with you, in that video, they have announced this offering yesterday and it is showing up today. So this was not there before. So do not panic. This will not be asked in your examination, because your examination paper was updated in August and October, and this was released in November. So this will be only included in your next year paper. So they will not ask you in your examination, right? So standard means two copies of two availability zones on the faster drive, so that you can stream video, audio, everything like we did. You can host a website. So when you say standard IA, that means on a slower drive it will still maintain two copies. If you say intelligent tiering, you don't have to worry. You can add it on a faster drive, or a period of time it will move into slower drive for you. One zone IA, that means instead of maintaining two availability zones, this will ensure that it is on only one availability zone. It will put into infrequent access. That means you know that instead of maintaining two copies on two availability zones, it will maintain one copy on one availability zone. And when I say IA, infrequent access, that means on a slower drive, right? Glacier is an archival service. We have discussed this. You have lot of data that you don't want to lose, neither you want to read or see, right? You don't want to touch, but you don't want to lose. I gave you college examples, right? And what if you're a college student, and if you've left, and after 30 years, if your BGC is happening and your master goes back to your college for verification, they will pull up the data from Glacier. So you have a lot of historical data that you don't delete, right? Neither you want to see that every day, right? But you want to preserve and archive it. So Glacier is also available here. And then the next option you have, reduce redundancy not recommended, right? That means absolutely no protection to your data. You dump it and you forget. There could be a possibility that there's a data center outage and you might lose the data, right? So it says not recommended, but otherwise you have a couple of options that are available. You can always select whatever storage that you want, right? Minimum storage duration is 30 days. After that, we'll move into Glacier. or if you can say standard, right? Availability zone, it'll make sure it'll maintain 3 copies, 3 copies, 3 copies. This will only maintain 1 copy. This will maintain 3 copy, right? So if you say 1 copy, you can simply select this. Next, upload. And if you see here, storage class is OneZone IA. So let me do a couple of example here. Add file. So let me add another file here. Next, next again. All these questions they will ask in your interview. Make sure that you're prepared. So if I want to put this in standard, next. So if you see here, right, the experience is one, the UI is one, but every time you upload a data, you can choose this option on what to do and how to do it. Actions, change storage class, and you can change it later in case if that is not what you want, right? For example, if I click on change storage class, put into this, save, change. It is doing its thing on the right hand side here. It is actually changing the data and it became intelligent tiering, right? And it is pretty simple. If you want to cut, copy, paste, I have showed you this in your previous lecture. You can go to action and you can always do cut, copy and paste here. And you can paste it in any other bucket you want. Right? All the options are available. Are you with me, guys? Now let's say that I'll delete this data. The data is gone. Now what I want to do is, right, I want to maintain this data in the two geographical region, right? Let's say one copy in Paris, the other copy in Virginia. Let me see what I have in Virginia data center here. Some crap that I have maintained. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of it. So if you see, I have a bucket in Virginia also. So what I want to do is whatever data that I have in my Paris region, whatever data that I have in my Paris region should be automatically replicated to Virginia. I don't have to do this manually. I don't have to cut, copy, paste manually. A system has to automatically do this. So let me show you how you can do this, right? And why this is important, because some corporations would like to keep data redundancy across different region, like a DR for a data DR, right? Don't have to have a DR only for your databases and application, right? There could be a DR for your data itself. If customer has a quench to have a copy of this entire data, right, outside country to another country, right, just in a case where something happens here, he can always access the data, but you don't have to do this manually, neither you want to use a third party software, right? You can do this through a role here. So all you have to do is go to properties and then go to versioning and enable versioning, right? And then replication is an option that is available. You can add a rule for replication here, right? You want to copy the entire bucket. It is asking what bucket that you want to select. I have half a dozen buckets that are available, right? I've created, but explicitly I want to use the one that I have in Virginia here. So Paris to Virginia that I want to do. And then I can explicitly specify, right? In my destination, if it is in standard, right? I already have 2 copy of that right now. For example, in Paris, I already have a redundant copy on both the availability zone, right? So if I still choose standard here, that means I'll have 4 copies. In 2 different regions, I'll have 2 here, 2 there. Instead, what I can do is I can say in my primary zone, I'll have 2 copies. In my secondary zone, I'll maintain 1. This also can be a use case where instead of having 4, you can now have 3, or vice versa, right? Whatever you want, you can select. I'm going to just say create a new role, and role name I'm going to say EC2, sorry, S3 to S3 replication, something like this. Next, and then save. So if you see right now, I have created a role. This is my source bucket, which is in Paris, and my bucket name is I love Dubai. And my destination, the bucket name is Sohail-Adnan. That is my bucket. It stays in Virginia. And if you see the bucket policy, it says copy only. So let's put this into a test. So if you see here, there's nothing that I have. My bucket is empty. And if I go back and check, I have some dumps file that is available and it is still empty here. Now, what I will do is, I'll go back here, I'll try to upload a file. So whatever that I upload here will get replicated there. Okay, I have some UiPath software. Let me try to upload that setup file. Oops, it's large for 93 MB. Let me see something minimalistic. Okay. This is 4 MB. I'm gonna click on upload here. Right, and if you see the storage class, it is in standard. The storage class that you see, it is in standard, right? This is the primary site. If I go back to my Sohail-Adnan bucket here, right, the data is not reflecting. Let me give it a refresh here. Now it showed up. And if you see here, the Glacier Mountain file is in the standard IA, because in my replication role, I have explicitly specified that my destination doesn't need to maintain 2 copies in the standard storage. It has to be standard infrequent because I'm not going to access it that frequently. So like this, you can create a replication here. Now, what if you already have a existing data, right? And if you create a role, will the data will move? The answer is no. The data replication will only happen once you have created your role, right? Hence, what you need to do is you need to manually cut, copy, paste like I showed you before. Go here, you do cut, copy, paste, and go to the other bucket and you paste it there. Right? So like this, you can do replication, right? All these examination questions and interview questions and I'm demonstrating. Make sure that you remember the procedural step. Now let's say I want to access my S3 bucket in my EC2 instance. Let me do that also. So this was a question. Who asked this question? Someone asked me a question. Who was it? Who was asking that question? Do we have a class? Okay, Gopal was the one who was asking, right? Is it possible by command line? Can we use command line to upload or download a file or move a file with S3? So it was his question here. So I'm answering that question in the lab here. Launch. Nothing fancy. I'm just launching a simple Linux machine here. T2 Micro. Okay, nothing fancy here. Add storage, 8 GB is fine. Tag demo. Configure security group. So I'm going to select the existing security group which has port 22 opened here already. And that is all I need for this lab here. Now what I have done is I have created an EC2 instance. Now how does my EC2 instance connects to S3? Can someone tell me how does my EC2 instance connects to S3? We discussed this in our IAM lecture. Do you remember the answer? I gave you the answer in the IAM lecture. Exactly, we need to have IAM role. With the help of IAM role, we can connect one or more AWS services. And in this case, we are connecting S3 to EC2 instance, and we will use a role to do that. Let me see whether I have a role. Okay, seems there's a role already. Let me show you how to create one. This role is between EC2 and S3 full access. Review. Something like this. And then you click on create. You click on create and a role will get created. So once the role is created, the next step is we have to associate this role. Now to associate, we'll go to action here, instance state, and if you see this option here, attach or replace IAM role. And from the list, I'll pick up the EC2 role that I have created and apply. And if I scroll down here, the IAM role should show up. If it is connected correctly, the role will show up here. Now it's time that we need to log into the machine. Copy. SSH auth browse EC2 hyphen user. Let me increase the font size here for you. Uh, okay, where am I? I am here. If I have anything here, none. So let me clear this off. AWS S3 CLI. So this is the reference document that I'll be referring to demonstrate today's lecture here, right? So I've read this document and I'm very well aware of how this works. This is just for your reference. Now, according to AWS, only these many commands are available, right? Only these many commands are available in S3 through CLI mode. And there's no more than these many commands. So these many commands, I'll show you a couple of examples here. Now, for example, AWS S3 ls. And if you see, all my S3 buckets are showing up. This is my bucket name. This is also my bucket name. I love Dubai is right here. Suhail-Adnan is here. My domain that I've created is also here, right? Now, let's say I want to see something in this bucket. So AWS S3 colon slash slash Okay. S3 ls. Okay. So if you see here, it has my asset image index.html file, couple of files that I have uploaded there, right? Now let's assume that all the website that I have uploaded, I want to download it on this Linux machine, right? So let me do a lab here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to install yum install httpd -y, hit enter. You need to, okay, -y cd/var www html. If I do ls here, nothing. So what I'm going to do right now is, where am I? I am in this directory. Now AWS S3 sync. Mm, okay, let's try like this. S3://. Okay, it has synced right now. If I do ll, all my files are here. Service httpd start. Now if I go back and if I copy the file here, IP here, I should have this website. So that means the website that I have hosted in the S3, right? I've copied all those files from my S3 to my EC2 instance, and the same project is running off of my EC2 instance, right? Isn't that amazing, guys? So command line is this powerful where you can move information back and forth. Whatever information that you have here can be moved back to S3 also, and any information that you have in S3 can be moved back here. So let's do a couple of more example here. Where am I? I'm here. Let me go cd home EC2 user. Okay, let me clear this off. Now let me create a directory here, mkdir, and let's say S3 project. Right, I have my directory. I'll get into S3 project directory, and in the directory, I'm going to write something touch, or I'll echo my thoughts. Working on S3 CLI project. Hope to see this work. Okay, great. Now I want to put this in thoughts.txt. Right, so I have this content right now, and if you can see this content, I have this folder also now. Right, now I want to move this back. So the command is AWS S3 sync sync home user this directory to S3:// let's say I hyphen this is my bucket that I have here. So what I've done is I've just changed the entry here. Previously I had S3 bucket here. Now I moved the S3 bucket here. Now let's see what happens. So it has uploaded all the file. Along with that, it has uploaded some bash file also. Now let's go back and check. S3. If we get into this folder, and if you see some SSH files, these are all the Linux related default system files that it has copied, right? When you sync it, this is what happens. Let me get rid of this. And the S3 project folder that I have created there is showing up here now. And if I open this, my thought file is also here. Isn't that amazing, guys? You can do back and forth here. Now let's say you want to delete content here. So all you have to do is remove bucket, remove. I'm just referring the command, guys. So I'm going to say rm and I want to remove the directory that I have created. S3 hyphen project. So this is what I want to remove. Hit enter. It says it is deleted. Let me go back and refresh. It is still there for some reason, I don't know. But it says it is deleted. Let me now let me try. Still nothing. Let me try RB here. Failed an error cut. Calling the delete bucket. The bucket you try to delete is not empty. You must delete all the versions in the bucket. Okay, it is capturing all the changes here. Is there a command to delete versions? Remove bucket preset. Okay, I cannot delete versions from command line. I have to do it through browser only then. Let me do that and try one more time.
I think we use the RF option minus FF
It's not there here.
on the command line.
That is what I'm telling you. Only these many commands will work. These are all the AWS S3 commands.
Yeah,
And
RB
anything else?
RB with option.
Are you sure?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
RB with forcefully. Yeah.
So what -F?
Yeah. Double F. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry.
Low,
Two F. Two happens and F. I think
low,
just I need to check it. Yeah. I think yeah.
capital F or lower F?
Lower F. I think so.
Let me try. No. It did not work. It says you must delete the all version contents.
Okay.
Let me delete the version here. I deleted the version, the whole thing got deleted. Let me try. Okay, now it has removed the bucket. Let me go and check. Okay, the bucket is gone. It has disappeared now. So like this, only these many commands will work. It looks like Linux, but it has its own command line and it has its own parameters that are available. Anything beyond that, it might throw you an error, right? So give it a try, see how it goes, right? But mostly I would strongly recommend that most of the things that you want to acquire can be done through console itself, and it is much easier to navigate in through the console instead of doing through command line. but there are always use cases where you cannot use console and programmatically you would like to achieve this. Hence, it becomes necessary that you write a script or something and use CLI commands and execute that, and therefore you have commands that are available. So let's continue further here. Now, I want to connect with this third-party tool, right? Let's say that I'm working in a storage or a backup team, and my job is to backup data to S3. So you can't sit and say, okay, I'll create folders, and after every folders, I'll go here and I'll upload file. This is stupidity, right? Because if you have a smaller file, great that you can quickly upload. But if you have a very large file, or if you have batch files that you want to upload, right? You cannot do this through this browser. The browser, if crashes, right, your upload will stop, right, or get disconnected. You have to start over again. So there should be an intelligent way of doing this. Hence, there are several tools that allows you to do this, which can connect with your S3. For example, for example, Cloudberry is available. You can use Cloudberry also. Um, Become Amazon S3. There's a backup tool that is available from Cloudberry, very popular. A lot of people used to do backups and other thing. There are a lot of tools that are available which can connect with S3 to move data. My personal favorite is S3 browser, right? This gives you an SFTP experience, and this is very easy for me to pick up and practice and learn. So I'll be demonstrating lab through S3 browser, but you're free to use any other software that you like. So what I've done is I've already downloaded and installed the S3 browser software just to save time. So let me open the S3 browser software here and I'll demonstrate how you can connect this with your bucket. Manage accounts. I think I have an account that I've added. Let me remove it. Okay. So this is how a tool would look like. You just have to come here, add a new account, and this will ask you for an AWS IAM credentials, right? In my previous example, we worked with human user where we created a username and password for Divi and couple of others, and through that we were able to log into AWS Management Console. Now those users will not do any help. We have to create a programmatical user where a third-party program can directly communicate with AWS without needing a console access. Hence, to do that, I'll go to user here and add a user. Since it is a non-human user, you don't need to put a human name. You can give a machine name or a service name. So I'm going to call this backup service user, and this time I'm going to give this a programmatical access. Permissions. Now it is asking, hey, do you want to make this part of a group that you have created? And I remember while creating this group, I did not choose to give S3 access. Hence, what I will do is I will attach policies directly. So this is another use case where a user doesn't need to be a part of a group and still inherited policies that he choose to. So S3, I'm going to give him full access. And after this, I'm going to demonstrate a Glacier lab also. So therefore, I'm going to give Glacier access also. Glacier full access. Right? This is my storage service user. Review. It says this particular user, the service user that I'm creating, has access to these of the two AWS services. And then you click on create user. Now this is the only time that you get to see these credentials. When you skip this screen, you will not. Though you can reset or create new one, but if I've embedded this in your application, you will lose it. Hence, it is strongly advised that you download this, right? Or you can click on show here. So what I will do is I will download the copy of this just in case if the screen gets refreshed, I have a copy of this credentials procured. So I've downloaded this, open. And there you go. I have my credentials available here. Right. So I need access key. Copy. In the access key section, I also need a secret key. Copy. I'll go to secret key section. This can be anything. You can give anything that you want. Storage, service, account, something like this. If you want to encrypt, you can encrypt. If you want to encrypt your traffic, you can tick from here and then you click on add. So all my buckets are showing up here. So I love India and I want to create this bucket. Let's say I want to do this in Sydney. I'll create this bucket, click on create. So if you see here, I love India, bucket got created. If I go back to my management console here, S3, there you go. I have my bucket that has created in Sydney here. Is it making sense, boys? Right? And just for fun, I'll upload some file here. Now uploading from the browser, and this file should show up there. Something like this. So the file got uploaded in this bucket. If I go back in my S3 and do a bucket refresh, and the file is available here. Right? And if I delete it from here, if I come and refresh, poof, it is gone. If I come back here and click upload, so let me do large file here just to demonstrate. This is an 81 MB file. So the reason I'm trying to upload a large file here is to demonstrate that the experience that you get with a native backup tool, right, is priceless. Right? You can always schedule, you can always sequence them. If you have a large file, you can split them into smaller parts. Right? You can schedule them and you can go for bed tomorrow, come back and see. But in case of a browser, it can pause, it can stop, it can crash, and the whole experience is not that pleasant. Right? So give me a couple of minutes. I wish I could have uploaded a smaller piece of file here, but it is 26% there. So give a couple of minutes, and the larger files, the whole idea of this lab is to demonstrate that using a third-party tool can allow you to upload a larger size of files into S3. Are you guys are with me? Are you guys are following?
Adnan, this tool is from Amazon itself, or it is the
It's
third party?
Amazon partners.
Okay.
You can use a lot of tools: Commvault, Symantec, NetBackup, Veeam.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So
Okay.
there are
Okay.
hundreds of tools that are available. But as I told you before, you cannot use evaluation copies on AWS. You have to use something that is licensed always. Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing called as like trial.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So from a compliance perspective, I'm showing, but these tools are also very popular and enterprises are using them. Right?
Okay.
Could be one from Cloudberry, could be from S3 browser. SMEs or startups are using it heavily here because it does not come with feature pack. The tool is very minimalistic and it costs you peanuts. And you can still,
Okay.
your backup administrator can still administrate and do backup work.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, where are your friends, man? They're not regular to class, yaar.
I think some of them they are working, and that is the problem. I think so. I think Meghna has left the class because she want to join the next batch. I think so. Yesterday she has told me.
Okay. All right. So it's a very large file that I've uploaded successfully. If I refresh here, and there you go. Right. So everything that I've explained and articulated to you in the S3 browser can be done through this third-party native tools. You can create buckets, you can upload contents, you can delete bucket. Right. If you don't need it, you can delete this file. Say, hey, I don't need this file. Right. Poof. If I come back here, see. Right, so it makes your experience flawless. So I would advise, strongly advise, if it's a minute use cases, smaller files, you stick with the browser. And if you're dealing with large file, large data set, perhaps you would like to use S3 browser, Cloudberry, or any other proprietary tool that certifies to work with S3, Amazon S3. Right now, these were the various use cases that I wanted to demonstrate from your interview perspective, and from your examination perspective, and from your daily job perspective. These are the use cases you will rigorously apply, right? And this is for a frequently accessed data. Let's also understand for non-frequently accessed data. Now, if I go to services, there's a section called S3 Glacier, which is a subset of this, right? So I have created this. Let me try to delete this vault. Right now, if I want to create something, let's say I'll create it, and it is asking where do you want to create. I can say Mumbai, and I can create it from here. But let me do this lab in reverse order. So in my previous lab, I showed the lab in the browser, in the web browser first, and then I showed you with third-party tool. Now for the Glacier lab, I want to first show you with the third-party tool, and then I will show you with the browser. Right. Again, for Glacier, you can go to Cloudberry, or you can use this tool called Fast Glacier. This is another tool from the same vendor. Again, I have downloaded and I have installed this. Guys, is there any background noise seeping in? All right. So I'm already having the same credentials here. Let me copy this. Secret key. And by the way, the UI of both the tools looks alike because it is from the same vendor. Right. Something like this. Right. Now, if you see, the experience is slightly different. Instead of showing your buckets here, let me show you this tool side by side. So this is your S3 browser where you have all the buckets available. But here, instead of showing buckets, it is showing your region. Right. Here you have to extremely try hard to find a name because it follows a global DNS. But here you can create anything you want. For example, I would like to create a vault. College. Something like this. And where do you want to create? You can select the region in which you want to create. And then you create a vault. And if you see here, a vault got created. If you go back to my tool here and refresh, college data is available here. But in S3, it was versatile. You can navigate through buckets, you can navigate through folders, you can make the content public, you can host a website. Uh, you have various storage options available. A lot of circus you could have done in S3. In Glacier, you cannot do anything else. You can only do three things. You can put the data inside, you can retrieve the data outside, or you can delete the data. There's nothing beyond that you can do. You cannot make it storage change, you cannot make it public, you cannot share it with anyone, because Glacier is not meant for that. Glacier is a pure play archival service. All your data will be compressed and archived. Are you with me? Right? Like I gave you college example, bank example, lot of data that you have. Right? For example, let's say I was terminated from company A. After 20 years, I want to go back and rejoin that company A. The company A, we can always go back and match my profile and see, hey, he be due to sexual harassment. I we kicked this guy out. Why is he coming back? You're getting my point. So that kind of use cases is what you will keep, right? So you cannot do anything from a browser. That's it. Every activity that you want to do further, you have to do this with your tool only, right? With your tool only, you can upload and download and delete. You cannot do anything from the browser. Say upload a file, experience is same. Anything that you want, you just select, for example, this file. If you want to upload one more file, right? Zoom, 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 things are working out, right? Both the files are showing up here. Now what you need to do is watch this very carefully. I'm going to click on request last inventory. What does this mean? Right? It says your inventory for this will take up to 4 hours. It'll take up to 4 hours. So basically what it is trying to articulate is, unlike like S3, which is for frequently access, here anything that you put in, an inventory gets created. At specific time, at specific day, you have deposited some data, right? And then if you want to access the next time, you have to wait for 4 hours. After 4 hours, when you click on request latest inventory, it will give you the inventory explaining you who uploaded the data, who retrieved the data, who deleted the data, etc., 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 right? Now in S3 you could have uploaded, downloaded, you could have deleted. Now here it works differently. For example, I want to download this file back. Click on download here. It'll give me three options, right? If I can wait from 5 to 12 hours for my download to start, I will pay this much. But if I'm in little hurry, in 3 to 6 hours, I'll pay this much. But if I'm desperate, I need this data between 1 to 5, I have to pay this much. And this was not the case in case of S3. You never have to pay for retrieving data. You only pay for a storage, you only pay for a bandwidth there. But here, you will not only pay for storage, but you will pay for retrieving and you pay for bandwidth also, right? But the storage is extremely affordable. It's economical scale, right? 10 scale that you can talk about when you compare to S3. If S3 is $1, this will be 10 cent, right? But the idea is pretty simple. You put the data, you forget it, you don't bother. And only when there's an audit or request comes in, you go back and you pull in and only then you pay, right? So for retrieval also you have to pay. And finally, if I delete, because it is not 4 hours and within 4 hours I'm deleting it, there will be no record maintained. But if I delete this data after 4 hours, in the inventory it will demonstrate and show me that who have deleted this data. And I can always go back and cancel my request. Now I have deleted it, but I don't have an option of canceling it because it is less than 4 hours. It should have at least matured this data for more than 4 hours, right? Let me show you an example here. Now I have a vault. I will try to delete this vault now. Now it should pop up and throw me an error. It says, hey, the vault is not empty. Though the files are not available right now, the files are deleted for you, but the files are still there in the system. In 4 hours or after 4 hours, the files will be deleted, right? And this is by design. The reason why, because if any data accidentally deleted, an administrator have 4 hours of time to go back and do course correction. But for that, the condition is your data should be at least 4 hours old in the system for that to be captured in your inventory. Are we clear? So you can only put, retrieve, and delete. There's nothing beyond that you can do in Glacier. It's an archival service. You dump it and you forget it. Are we clear, boys? Yes, 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 no, maybe. I don't know where Saddam disappeared. Saddam and Divya are not there in the class. So let's continue further then. So let's work on EFS. EFS was the second category of the storage that we discussed in our previous lecture. And unfortunately, EFS is not available in Mumbai. So we may have to do this lab in some other region. So I will go and delete the EC2 instance that I have created. Action. And terminate. Virginia. Now in this use case, I would like to demonstrate what will happen with EFS here, right? Now, let's say this is my EC2 instance 1. And this is my EC2 instance 2, right? And I'll have my centralized storage here. This is EFS. The storage that you see here is Elastic File System. I'll have my hard drive here, EBS and EBS. So when I write ABC here, this ABC will come and sync here. The same ABC will show up here also, right? So when I write XYZ here on the second machine, the XYZ will be synced here and the XYZ will show up here. So that is a use case that you're trying to demonstrate, where if you have hundreds of machines, you can have a centralized storage mounted to all these machines, and each machine can communicate back and forth, right, to the centralized storage. So that is what we want to demonstrate. In order to do this, we have to first go and create a security group. So I'll go to EC2 instance and prepare a security group so that this can communicate between my EC2 instance and my EFS. Let me get rid of this quickly here. Snapshots. Create a security group. This is a connection between EC2-EFS. And description is none. NFS. SSH. Okay. Create. Now we are ready. EFS. Create a file system. This is a fully managed file system, right? Again, 9.3 hexabyte as a storage volume. Maximum per storage is allowed is 5 terabyte as single file. So if you have smaller files, it can go up to 9.3 exabytes, but one file size should not exceed 5 terabytes. I'm only selecting 2 availability zones. I do not need all 6. If I have minimum 2, I qualify redundancy here. Though I can have on multiple availability zones, but I'll stick with 2 for now. I've selected the security group here that I've created. Network attached storage. There are a couple of options that are available here. If you have tens, hundreds, and thousands of EC2 instances that are needed, only then you will select maximum input and output options. If you have far few, general purpose can do the justice for you. Okay, so I've created this right now. Usually it takes some time. This is creating, so we'll park this here and we will come back.
The use case of this is for the sharing the data centralized across the all EC2 instance.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I'm going to put one machine in my first availability zone because I have to also make sure that my instances are sitting on different availability zone to demonstrate this use case, right? If I have instances in different availability zones, they should all access to the centralized storage. So one machine I'll create in my first availability zone. 8 GB is fine. I'll say NAS server 1. We'll be selecting the security group that I have selected here, the one that I've created, and launch. So while this machine is getting created, let me also create one more machine quickly. Let me add this in second availability zone. Configure security group, existing security group that I'll be selecting for this. Review. And that's it, launch. Please bear with me. This is taking some time. Where are you from, Mahesh? Which part of the world are you from?
At present, I'm in Ireland, in Dublin, but
You're
I am
awesome, yeah.
from Mumbai. But I am from Mumbai.
How's things like there?
Oh, it's good, not too bad. Right now, I am on work,
Okay.
but it's
So
not so that precious, so I can able to attend the classes. And then if I have work, then I will just throw a message. Just I back in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. So that's the thing.
you're enjoying, man. Only you're enjoying here. You're making others to work. Very good.
No, man, it is not like this. Actually, maybe after few days, definitely, I'm also the same thing like you.
Yeah. You're already like me, man. You're one step ahead of me. I'm behind you. I'm in Middle East. You're in Ireland already. Right? You're already ahead of me in every way.
No, man, no, no, no. I want
Okay.
to be with equal with you. Thank you.
Hey, yaar, I want you to prospect and progress, man. You should leave your teachers behind. You should set your You should be an example to your teacher.
Of course, definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. With your
Oh.
cooperation.
Zohrul Islam. Sorry, Zohrul Islam. If you're speaking, I'm unable to hear you. Maybe he has a problem with his mic. He's not talking. Where are you from? Zohrul Islam, where are you from? Which part of the world are you from? Wow. See, he's ahead of both of us now. He's already in US. Nice, nice. So now I'm going to demonstrate how you can connect. So what I'm trying to do is, as part of the design, this first instance that I have, excuse me, the first instance that I have here is getting connected to my EFS. That is what I'm trying to do. So where am I? I am here. Um, where should I go? CD slash my mount. Nothing I have. Where am I? I am in slash mount. And I'm going to create dir nas something like this. Okay, I know why it is sudo su. All right, now it is done. Now mount type. The type is NFS4. Mount type NFS4. And then I have to give a mount point. Mm, so I have to copy this load balancer, DNS load balancer that it has created. So basically what it does is it connects between two availability zones, the zone B and zone A. So any data that you write through load balancer, it will write the copies on both the availability zones. Automatically this will happen. We don't have to do anything. So let's do this. Right, I have to give colon slash. This is very important. Your colon slash is very important, right? Explaining this is a network drive. My mount directory. Let's see it works. It says it worked. Let's check df-h. Okay. So if you see here, it has mounted to this particular directory and it says 9.3 hexabyte storage available and the size is also 9.3 hexabyte. 8.4 is my root drive. Right. So now cd, let me get into the storage here and let me write something. Echo. Let me see if I have anything in this directory first. Nothing. So echo working on EFS lab. Hope this works without any issues. Something like this. And then my notes.txt. Okay, sounds fair enough. I think this is enough. Now hit enter. Now if I do ll, I have my file here. If I open my file, I have the content in my file. right? So this is there in my first server. Now the data that I had, it is in my first server. Now I have written here. Now I will configure this server so that I can see what data was written on the first machine. EC2 second availability zone. Let me copy this. New session. Uh, okay, cd/mount. Let's see. I don't have anything here. Sudo su mkdir nas hyphen. I'm just doing the same steps here, creating a storage directory. Now mount hyphen t nfs4 :/ because the network drive / mount nas. I have mounted right now df-h. It is mounted here. I am not writing any data. I'm just getting into the directory here. I've got into the directory. If I do ll and if I do cat, this was written in my first server. It is showing up in my second server. Now let's do the same task again. Here also I'm going to write echo. Hope this sync up with NEFS and the data shows in another, something like this. So what I've done is I've written this content in my second server. Now this content should show up in my first server, right? And if I do ll here, sample.txt is showing up in my second machine, sorry, in my first machine. And if I cat, the data is right here. So that means the content that I've written in my first server is actually storing in NFS, and the second machine can see it. And the second machine data which is stored there, the first machine can see it. That means you are successfully able to build and deploy NAS and able to build instances and hook them together in a way that the whole project is done where both the machines can talk to the centralized storage. Any questions, boys?
What about the security? If anybody has deleted the file, then how we can able to recover it? Or is there any alternative solution? So who has the owner, they can able to just create it, or
See, mostly
can
NAS is not for you and me. NAS is mostly for a machine to centralizedly put logs, able to go back and access log. You and I will not sit into the NAS and keep looking what files that we have. So this is not mostly for us, this is mostly for machine. And you will not keep any permanent data onto the NAS. NAS is just an attached storage for you to temperamentally hold data so that the other environments can see them. It could be a Hadoop cluster that you're building in where you have manifest file which is stored at a centralized location, right? Multiple nodes can access those instructions, right? And you always have a copy of that in S3 or Glacier. And if it is deleted, you can restore it back or you can copy paste it here. Did I answer your question, Mahesh? Or you're asking about if can somebody access from outside? Is that what your question is?
No. Actually, my question is about the security point of view. So if anybody is having the access to delete it, and then they can able to delete it. So
Let them delete it now. How
okay.
will it matter? Your system will generate the logs again. So your systems will generate the manifest files again,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we'll conclude today's lecture. We will follow up with the storage series tomorrow also, and we will continue with some of the other storage options that are available, such as storage gateway. How do you connect on-premise to move your data? Right. We will continue with the storage series tomorrow also, because the reason I'm winding up a little early today is because I hardly see audience here. Right, and I hope that tomorrow we'll have more attendance so that we can actually it'll be more interesting when they're live. Otherwise, just watching from video is not what this training is all about. Otherwise, I would have hosted a video portal and would have given you subscription where you guys would have come and would have watched those videos. This is more interactive based training that I want to keep, and we have less audience today. So I like to wind up today and practice S3 and EFS. And in tomorrow's lecture, we'll continue with storage gateway and other storage options that we have. So before I let you go, do you guys have any questions?
Uh, Not at all. But just I want to ask one question, because from the S3
Mm.
we hosted the static website. How we can able to configure the security when we are browsing from the browser? It shows unsecure. Is there any way to? I not look it into that, but definitely it might be.
See, SSL is already there built into your S3, na? So why you have to worry? Go to S3 here. Um, right.
No,
I
but
think I
when
have
we
not.
are when no no, but when we are browsing that website from the S3, it shows unsecure on the browser.
They see here, man. I'm going to this domain name here.
Yeah.
My index.html file. Let me open this.
Oh, you have already HTTPS. Yes, yeah.
See here, I have lock na.
Yeah, on my it is not showing, so I just need to configure again, probably.
There's
Okay.
nothing to configure, yeah. It is pre-configured by S3 already.
Okay. I will again check it, because I raised a question. I couldn't see that lock on my website, so I think probably I made some mistake. No problem.
That's okay, yeah. You're busy partying there in Ireland, drinking beer, celebrating
No
Christmas.
way. No.
Right, 25 more days you have for Christmas, and now only you started celebrating in November.
No, I'm flying to Mumbai on 23rd.
Yeah, yeah, to celebrate Christmas in India.
Yes, yeah.
All right, buddy.
Bye. See you.
Chalo
Thank
then.
you.
Yeah,
Chalo,
you
bye,
guys
man.
take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.